Hey guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you, and in this one I thought it would be fun and interesting to talk about the three biggest issues affecting the next Swedish election coming up here in 2022. I want to do a few videos focusing on stuff in the news right now, and I see three major issues that's going to really affect where Sweden is heading in this next election. And unfortunately, as it is, it's mostly everything that's happening in the world currently. So we're going to get into it with number one. NATO membership. Like it or not, the discussion with NATO is going to be more and more into the public area. I, for one, always talk about this. I'm worried about what happened with Ukraine trying to join NATO and the fact that this was used as posturing, and then now Ukraine is in a war and everybody's watching on the sidelines. I personally have a fear that America and other countries will try to push Sweden or Finland into joining NATO, but if they're not going to protect us from the start or let us in almost instantly, if we begin this process and Russia starts attacking, that everybody else is just going to back off and then just send us thoughts and prayers and supplies. I'm not cool with that, but we'll have to see what happens in this next election. The current political party in charge, they don't really seem to want to join NATO, but they're not completely taking it off the table. The moderates here in Sweden, which, fun fact, for whatever reason, I just have a man crush on the leader of Sweden's moderate party. I just think he's a really good-looking guy. For whatever reason, I always say that I always just, that's my guy, I guess, that if I had a man crush on. But anyways, they said they want to join NATO. So we kind of see this coming up as a major political issue here in Sweden. I do feel like the majority of Swedes want to join NATO, but haven't, I don't know, thought about this fact that it could only add more and more tensions to Russia, and then what if everybody backs out, or what if everybody pulls away? I personally believe that Finland and Sweden work together to make their treaty even better and build up their militaries, although Sweden has a long way to go on their military as opposed to Finland when it comes to active troops. So that's the number one issue. Number two has to be inflation. Make no mistake, life is really good in Sweden. That said, though, it's very fragile. And what I mean by that is that once gas prices start to tick up, once electricity starts to go up, electricity costs in Sweden have been insane. And depending on where you live in Sweden, you will get charged more based on the time that it's happened. I've seen tons and tons of stories about electricity, and this is not just a problem in Sweden, but throughout Europe, of importing electricity. And Sweden's in the same situation as a lot of other countries where I talked about last video, where we're not that self-sufficient. We're not as self-sufficient in energy as we should be when it comes to things like natural gas, when it comes to things like electricity, and people are starting to overpay. Well, once inflation kind of hits in, and once we see all these prices soaring, which I understand inflation and the prices going up aren't necessarily connected in the exact same way, I want to talk about them in this way that it risks the balance of life in Sweden. Once you start paying a lot of these higher tax, and the cost of living that's already high in Sweden goes up even further, it's going to be a problem for the politics, it's going to be a problem for the political leaders in charge. Make no mistake about it, it's just going to be. We all love paying our taxes and our benefits to Sweden, but once we see our quality of life go down, you'll see it. I already am starting to see the hit at the grocery store. I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of prices going up on food. There might be some food shortages. Now, this isn't meaning everybody go out to the store and panic. I'm just saying I do think that, for example, wheat. If you look at wheat, how abundant and how it's used in so many different things, and that it's just really heavily impacted with the war going on here now. I don't think this is going away. I think that the energy problems facing Sweden is going to be facing Europe for quite some time, and this is something that I'm definitely concerned with. Number three is going to have to be the housing and renting situation. I still feel like Sweden can do a better job with this. For you that don't know, if you're trying to buy an apartment, trying to rent an apartment, there's not enough apartments. And I've been trying to think about this, and also rents and buying apartments is just absolutely insane. I've been thinking about if what happened in the United States is also impacting Sweden. Now hear me out. They stopped building like after the 2009 housing boom crash that I'm sure affected Sweden somewhat, and they slowed down their building to the point now where we're like 5 million homes short in America, and I believe that we're short on homes in Sweden, and it's causing prices to just get out of control, and it needs to be better regulated. The government just seems to have issues with this. They're always debating it every single year, and I'm interested to see if they can fix this, because I think the renting situation, it's mostly finding a place to stay. And finding a place to stay that isn't ridiculous if you're trying to move to a major city. Even in a city like Linköping that I live in, if you're a renter and trying to find a place, you're going to struggle with that. And that means they need to find a way to be building more apartments, more lower cost housing, I do think that Sweden does a much better job than, say, the United States with this, as far as like the predatory renting and things go. But it's still an issue that's impacting us. And you notice all three of these issues I talked about are all things that's going to affect every single Swede. NATO is going to affect us whether we like it or not. The cost of electricity and inflation is going to cost us. These are all things that are going to impact us all. And I'm very interested to see what happens in Sweden, because I always see life in Sweden as delicate. And I don't mean delicate in a bad way. I'm saying that it's a very balanced lifestyle. But if things get too difficult in one direction, it kind of breaks the Swedish system. So, and this is all systems. I mean, this is the American system. This is a lot of European systems that are going to be pushed to the brink. I do think that the Swedish economy is strong enough to deal with this economic downturn, but it is quite a challenge after just dealing with the pandemic. So we'll have to see what happens. I'm very curious what you guys think. Please let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Hej då!